Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Today we have some great co-hosts with me. We have Laura Mangin-McDonald and JJ West. Hello, you guys from all over the place.
Hey, Becky.
Laura and JJ are Becky. Both they're presenters at Every Man's Battle and Intimacy in Marriage and Restore. And now today they're here to answer your calls. And I'm so excited because I just love the messages that you bring and the references to music that JJ puts into all the things, because I love that too. But, you know, one of the things that we all work together on is intimacy in marriage. And I'm curious, what do you think are some warning signs for couples when they start to drift apart? Like, you know, they become married roommates. And what can you do to stop that drift?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a few signs to look for. One is if you've stopped doing things together, if any given evening or weekend, one of you is off at the golf course and the other is antiquing, one of you is sitting in the living room watching a movie and the other one's in the den playing on the computer. If you're not doing things together, that's a pretty big sign that you're drifting. If there's a major decrease in intimacy, that's a pretty big sign that there's a drifting marriage. And if there's an increase in conflict, I would say that's another indication of this kind of drifting marriage. Laura, what would you add to that?
Yeah, JJ, I completely agree with that. And another thing that I've seen in my practice a lot is something that looks so right, and that's a functional efficiency. That the couple comes together to talk. Did you pay the bills? The kids have a tournament here. We're going to visit family here. And all of that looks so efficient, and it is. But a functional efficiency doesn't replace the emotional intimacy that's needed to be the foundation of that marriage. And I think that, you know, a lot of times by the time couples get to see me, they don't even understand that they started out with these genuine intentions to operate the household, but in that they lost the foundation of the marriage. And it's like, who are you? And they end up doing a lot of these separate lives, or they fill this huge void.
Yes.
And you know, so then how do they get across that void? Because that is also difficult, right? It's like, once you recognize there's a separation or a drift, how do you begin reconnecting?
Yeah.
Well, that's really where we need to call the 911, because if you don't, all of a sudden, you know, the enemy is just crouching at the door waiting to go, oh, you all you used to be good together, but now you've fallen out of love. How many times have we heard that, right? And it's like, we've got to get in to seek wise counsel. We've got to get in to get some help. Just, you know, we would do that in a heartbeat if something happened to our financial plan. We're on the phone going, oh my gosh. But oftentimes in our personal lives and our marriage, we'll go, oh, well, we can figure this out. Or, you know, it's embarrassing. Or for whatever reason, people delay the counselor and they need to pick up that phone.
Yeah. They need to get help. They need to reach out to others. Going to an intimacy and marriage workshop would be a great place to start.
That would be a great place to start.
And you know, I would add Philippians 4:8, right? Whatsoever things are lovely, pure, good, honest, true, think on these things. We need to actually do that about our spouses. So I need to actually come up with, what are the things that are good and that I appreciate about my spouse? And I need to start writing those things down and reflecting on those things. And that will actually help me feel closer to them.
That's a great way to start. We can help you get started too. You can call us 1-800-229-3000. We're going to be taking calls, and we'll be back after this break. But maybe you want to be that couple that says, we're going to do something about this, and go to Intimacy and Marriage. We'll help you get there. We'll be right back after this break.
My husband was involved with pornography addiction.
He was unfaithful. I called the wedding off. He stepped out on the marriage and ended up having a child.
The Restore Workshop is designed for a woman dealing with a man's sexual addiction issues.
My husband is a recovering sex addict. There were strip clubs, other ladies.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Workshop will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
Restore has empowered me and has given me the tools to work through my anger, work through my pain, work through my confusion, and help me realize that I am worthy.
Being here and being surrounded by people who get it has given me my power back.
The Restore Workshop is coming to Washington, D.C. November 3rd through the 5th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
Thank you, Restore. You have changed my life forever.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I'm so glad you joined us, and we're going to be taking calls. You can call 1-800-229-3000. We're going to go right to the calls, and we're going to talk with Megan, who's calling us from Cincinnati. Listens, this is her first time calling. We're so excited that you called. How can we help you today, Megan?
Hi, good afternoon. Yes, I have a 8-year-old son who's seeking quite a bit of attention lately. He may fall down and not be hurt, but cry a little bit. And then when he's hurt, he's also crying, but I can tell the difference. He is also chiming in quite a bit, whether it's with kids or adults, just always having to say the last word or kind of interject something he thinks. And I've also found him upstairs in my bedroom as opposed to his bedroom after I tell him he needs to go to bed. So I feel like there might be a little regression.
Okay. So what have you done, Megan, up to this point to address it?
Well, I've explained to him, the boy who cried wolf kind of syndrome going on, and how I'm I really need to know when you're hurt, and I'm not going to know for sure, kind of explaining that it's not right and it's not exactly appropriate. And as far as the chiming in, I've just told him, someone's talking, or please don't interrupt, or, I know you want, attention, but we need to share the air.
Okay. All right. And one last question before I turn it over to JJ and Laura. Is he your only child, firstborn, lastborn? Where does he fall in that range?
Only child.
Only child. Okay. All right. Laura or JJ, how can we help Megan understand what's happening with her son?
Well, what comes to me right off is that I'm wondering what's happened, what's changed. He doesn't have the cognitive ability to articulate what he needs, so he's doing this through behaviors to get your attention. Is his dad in the picture?
So his dad has been not well for quite some time, making bad choices and getting in trouble, or trying to rehabilitate since he was born.
So he's been probably emotionally absent, it sounds like. Okay. I'll give a quick answer, and then I'll hand it over to JJ. My quick answer is that when we are in some type of emotional pain, we connect right brain to right brain. So to come in and validate him, I understand your instructions to him, but the instructions are like Charlie Brown's, wah, wah, wah. What he needs is, and it seems counterintuitive because a lot of people think, well, I don't want to baby him, but he needs to go, just get down and look in his eyes and go, hey, buddy, it seems like you're doing this, this, and this. Can you give mommy some words? Can you help me understand what's going on in your heart? And that's where we begin. That's what Jesus did in the Gospels. He met us in our emotional pain. And once we validate that and go, I see you, I hear you, and I understand you, then we can move on to the instructions of what needs to be done with the behavior. What about you, JJ?
Yeah, I would agree that it's important to recognize, be age specific, right? He's 8 years old, so he's not going to be able to necessarily, sit down and have a 50-minute counseling session on why he is seeking attention through pretending he's more hurt than he really is, or why is he going to your room. But he can begin to talk about what he's feeling. And I agree with you that you have to have the rules in place. You do have to say, okay, this is appropriate, this isn't appropriate. But we really want to connect with what's going on in his heart, his little 8-year-old heart, where, there's a reason why he's seeking attention. We don't know what that is. And it's going to be through, because he's 8, it's going to be through play that he begins to communicate what it is that what's going on in his world, that he's seeking that attention. And so I would say, as much as you can, spend extra time playing with him, spend extra time connecting with him as much as you can. And it sounds like you're kind of maybe trying to do this as a single parent in some respects. So your time might be limited, but as much as you can, try to take that time to connect with him and ask him about his day. What's going on with him? What's he, if he's in school, what's happening at school when he's away from you? If he does play dates, what's going on there? Or if he goes and spends time with dad, let him come home and talk about what that time is like. Or when dad doesn't show up, what does that feel like? So just as much as you can, try to find those places to connect with him and let him express through his language, the 8-year-old language of play, as opposed to trying to, get him to see the logic behind why he can't. I understand the rules, and I want you to have rules in place in your home, but you're going to have to try and find a way to if you were in a foreign country, you would try to figure out how to communicate in their language. And in some ways, communicating with an 8-year-old is like communicating with someone from another planet. So you want to try and find out how to communicate in his language.
Megan, I'm wondering about your husband's situation. When you mentioned rehab, is this some sort of addiction, or is it recovery from a physical problem? What's the issue there?
Addiction.
Okay. So then my next question would be, how are you getting the support that you need? Because some of your response or reaction to your son is actually a crossover from what you're dealing with what your husband's been dealing with or not dealing with. So I don't know if you've got any support that way, whether it's a 12-step group or counselor. Have you thought about that, or is that part of your life right now?
We are no longer married, but when we were married, I did go to a couple of the NA adult, like family support meetings. And I don't think he's old enough to go to like a child.
No, I'm thinking of you, Megan. I'm thinking of you because you are the primary caregiver to go along with what JJ and Laura have already said. He is in a developmental stage right now, not knowing where these feelings are coming from. He's not trying to do anything, but because of your experience with your former husband, you may be responding to him from that perspective. It's very common, and I just want to encourage you to keep doing your own recovery work. And I know for so many people, and we're going to talk about this actually this Saturday, we're doing a life recovery conference online because we want people to understand how recovery impacts all of us. It's not just the person who may have an addiction, but it's those of us who are impacted by the choices other people have made or the disease that has them. And so I'm not suggesting this for your son. This would be for you.
Okay.
And I would add,
go ahead, Megan.
Oh, go on, JJ. Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, Becky, in response to that, I would just add one of the things, Megan, you might be feeling is just the exhaustion. I mean, it's just exhausting to deal with an addict, whether that person is still in your life daily or if there's some distance, there's still an exhaustion there. And so some of your resistance to trying to help your son may be just a situation where you're worn out. And so to go along with Becky's point, you want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. It's kind of like what they say on the airplane, right? If you're traveling with a young person, first put on your own mask, then put their mask on. You got to make sure that you're okay in order to care for him well.
That's what I was going to say, JJ.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, JJ, is that, Megan, you're being fulfilling the role of two parents, and he doesn't know what to call it, but he can just pick up on, he's sensing something, and it's amiss, but it's making him uneasy, and it's probably, you're just worn out. And he's trying to communicate that to you, but doesn't have the words. So, when we take care of ourselves as a parents, we can keep our kids attuned. We help them regulate. It's pretty amazing. So the group work would help you a lot and validate what you're going through.
Does that make sense, Megan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What would your defense be, or pushback? Like, that sounds all great, but I have so many other responsibilities. What would be your pushback on that?
I don't know if I would say I don't have the time. And pushback, I can honestly say that I've had a little bit of triggers with him that remind me of his dad. And
100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
it's very
totally legit.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard.
Even more the reason to get support.
Okay.
Well, and to that question, though, Megan, who are your support people?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have friends, family, church?
Yeah, friends, family, and church. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you've been through a lot with his dad, and part of recovery is knowing that we're not done, not because we're not doing it right, but because it takes a lifetime. And it's not just because of that. There's other stuff. It's not like you're one dimensional. You have other things, just, we all do. We're human. But, this is a really important word in his own healing. We don't want him to have that same kind of response. JJ, you mentioned this about, as an 8-year-old boy, what would you suggest to Megan as far as that part of his life? As, she's a female, male, all those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple of things there. One would be look to see if there's any play therapists in your area that have experience working with that population, with 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, that sort of thing. But also, since you are part of a church, I would encourage you to identify a couple of men in the church who you know and trust, who could be those male role models for your son, and possibly in your family as well. Maybe your father, a brother, uncles, those sorts of things, who can be those male role models in your son's life where his dad is not able to do so because of his addiction.
It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Megan, we're going to send you a copy of How We Love Our Kids, which I think is going to give you some insight. I also want to encourage you. We'll get you connected with a counselor. Maybe join us on our online life recovery conference this Saturday, which I think can help. When we talk about putting on our oxygen mask, there was something in a recent flight that I paid attention to when she was giving us those instructions. The next instruction after putting that on is sometimes you don't see the oxygen moving, but it is working. And I thought about in long-term processing of recovery or any kind of process, it can feel like nothing is happening, but it doesn't mean that nothing is happening. And I just thought, gosh, that'll preach right along with putting your own mask on before you help somebody else. But have you guys ever noticed that they say that the oxygen, you may not see the oxygen?
I haven't.
Yeah. Well, you'll hear it next time for sure.
I'll listen for it.
I just think, as we do recovery, whether it's, because we've been in a relationship with somebody else or because we have our own stuff, and we all have stuff, it's going to take more time than you think it's going to take. And there are things that are changing along the way. And I know, JJ, as we're looking at doing Every Man's Battle this weekend, there are men who are doing the work and things are changing, but it's not as quick as they would want. But, we'll talk about this when we come back. But, I can't encourage you enough, listeners. It's going to take work. And it's not going to be easy, but pick your pain. It could be the pain of whatever the addiction is or the hurt, but it's worth addressing to get whole and free. We'll be back after this.
The Life Recovery Connection Conference is online Saturday, October 7th. The topics addressed aren't just for people with alcohol or drug addictions, but for anyone who wants to move from the pain and the struggles of the past towards a healthier and happier future. Steve Arterburn, Becky Brown, and other experts will present new material on topics like reclaiming your calling, small group best practices, self-care, discipleship, sponsoring and mentoring, understanding and loving an addict or alcoholic, the history of the 12 steps, and much more. Plus, there are interactive breakout groups led by the conference presenters. To register or to find out more about the New Life Recovery Connection Conference, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit liferecoverygroups.com. Get help to successfully walk your recovery journey as well as go alongside others in need of help. 1-800-639-5433 or liferecoverygroups.com.
I've been listening to New Life for many years, gone to a few workshops. I want to support a ministry that helps people connect with God and with others and gives them the tools to help transform their lives.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Healing, 100 Days from Freedom from Shame, and 100 Days of Freedom from Anger. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. Yes, we are taking your calls, 1-800-229-3000. We're going to go to the calls, and then, JJ, I'll let you talk about Every Man's Battle. We're going to talk with Katrina, who's calling us from Nashville, Tennessee, listens on Sirius XM. Hello, Katrina. We're so glad you called. How can we help you today?
I have a problem with dealing with unforgiveness. Been married 55 years, and a few years back, our preacher sent us to marriage counseling. And at the point of the first question that was asked when we went, if you had an affair, and I said, no, sir. When he went to my husband, he said, he paused for a long, it seemed like an eternity, but he said, yes, he had. And he kept that secret from me for a long, long time. So anyway, he never returned to the sessions. I went 7 months, and finally the counselor said, I can't counsel with one person. I need both of you. But my husband refused to go back. So anyway, eventually I was in shock, and I tried to forgive him over and over, and I did. I went to him and asked forgiveness. And then he would tell me, I asked God to forgive me, but he never felt remorseful to me. And somehow I keep thinking, why does he not feel remorseful? So anyway, over a span of time again, I discovered by an iPad that he had handed me that we bought when my grandson was 11, and we put his birth year in there as the password. And we were going to another city to purchase something, and he had a doctor's appointment. He went in and he handed me the iPad to look at that. Well, it went off, and I tried to put the password back in, and I hollered at him before he went in, and he ran and grabbed the iPad. He said, I changed the password. I said, it's been 10 years. Why would you change the password? It doesn't matter. And when he put that password in and handed it back to me, he was still online with a girl that he dated in high school that we met at my class reunion, class reunion, not his. And he started calling her and contacting her. And the conversation, last words were, "What are you doing today?" "Well, I'm not doing anything. It's raining." So anyway, I've worked through that anger. It's been a lot of anger in me over this. And I'm a Christian and he's a Christian. We both go to the church. And we've not ever, we go 40-some years to the same church. And then just recently, I was looking at his phone on Facebook, and I went over to his messages, and it had a thing from Jim's Auto. And I thought, well, why would he have a message from Jim Auto? And when I pushed it in, it was an old girlfriend from Texas. And the conversation, I took a picture of it, and he says, "I can't talk to you right now. We have company. As soon as they leave, I'll go upstairs where I can be alone." Now, these
I'm
are
sorry,
things that
Katrina.
are eating me alive.
Yeah.
They're eating me alive. And I can honestly say today is still the same. I've never had an affair, and I've ever thought about when I'm angry at him going to another man or anything. So he went to our daughter over the first affair, and she's grown with children, and he said, "I just wanted to be friends." On the second affair, he said, "I just want to be emotional infidelity is what I'm calling it." I researched it. I went to the UT library. I did everything trying to understand this. So anyway, he told our daughter, "I just wanted to be friends." So my daughter, she contacts me and she says, "Why can't he just be friends with her?" Well, I don't seek out men for friends, you see. And I thought, if you wanted to talk to somebody, why didn't you talk to me?
So, Katrina, it sounds like it's been a long time of disconnection and lack of truth. And that is why you're angry. And it makes sense that you're angry. I want to start with you, Laura, and have JJ finish up. But what can Katrina do to resolve this? Because I know the just can't believe this is happening is continuing to happen. But help Katrina get in a new direction.
Well, first of all, Katrina, I am so sorry. Oh, my goodness, that you've been through this. It's called betrayal trauma. It's real. Betrayal trauma literally changes the molecular structure of our cells. So I want to validate the craziness you can feel inside of wondering what in the world. So, but I also want to give you some clear meaning when you said forgiveness and anger, and you referenced emotional betrayal. But forgiveness means I'm going to release the person who's harmed me, that I'm not going to manage their debt, okay? But forgiveness is not the same as reconciliation, which means you need your husband's participation to take responsibility for the betrayal that he's caused you, okay? So that is a biggie. And then you talk about getting angry. Well, you know what? God put anger in us to protest when wrong is done to us or to stand up and take back what was taken from us. So that is, your responses are absolutely normal to this horrible situation that has happened to you. So I want to validate you're not crazy, you're not being oversensitive, and you're not being a mean, spiteful, bitter woman. You're responding normal to this betrayal that is in your body is wreaking havoc from it. So all that's legit. What I would hope that you would do is to get into therapy, because you can see a therapist to heal the wounds inside of you. I always use this example. If I'm out driving on George Bush Turnpike here in Dallas, Texas, and I am T-boned, and my leg is cut off, I am not going to say I'm not going to get help because the driver who hit me is not going to get help. I better respond and let the EMTs take me to the hospital because I have a leg that needs immediate help. So you hear the music, and we'll come back to you after.
We'll come back. We'll come back in just a minute, Katrina, and we're going to continue taking calls, 1-800-229-3000. But Katrina, we hear you, and we'll give you some more next steps going forward. And I think JJ will be able to give you some insight into what the next steps would be for what you can ask of your husband. Because believe it or not, you can have a choice in that. We'll be right back after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a New Life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We're so glad you joined us today. You can call us at 1-800-229-3000. And if you're listening in another way, because we have people who listen via podcast or online, you can always call us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern time. I'm just saying that because a lot of you are listening, but you may not be calling, and we want to hear from you. Right now, we're talking with Katrina, who has been married a very long time to a husband who's not been faithful and is feeling angry and just not knowing what to do next. And, you know, Laura gave her some great insight because, you know, we talk about this at Restore, and we're going to give you information, Katrina, about this workshop that can help you get some healing. But right now, I want to hear from JJ. This isn't the first time we've heard of a man's behavior being this way, but what kind of hope or insight can you give to Katrina about why he continues to do this?
Well, he probably continues to do this because there hasn't been enough consequences for the behaviors that he's already exhibited. And please, by the way, Katrina, don't hear, oh, you're doing something wrong. I don't want to come across that way. And I echo Laura's comments earlier. I'm so sorry that you're having to go through this very real pain, this very real trauma. Mm-hmm. But I do recommend that it's because when you first called in, you said you wanted to talk about forgiveness. But honestly, I don't think this is an issue of forgiveness. I think this is an issue of needing to set firm boundaries with him, because he continues to try to engage in behavior that's not healthy, that's not appropriate for a marriage. This idea of cloaking it in, well, I just wanted to have a friendship. If that were true, then why did he need to make it a secret? Why did he need to put it under a different, secret, disguised name? I only have these conversations in secret when I'm upstairs by myself. You're not included in any of that. That's not a friendship. That's an emotional affair. That usually often then leads to a physical affair. So there needs to be some changes made. I think that he needs to agree to work on the reasons why he's continuing to look outside the marriage for connection that he should be finding within the marriage. The Every Man's Battle workshop would be a great place for him to do that. Those are some of the very things that we talk about at the workshop. So I would say you are certainly within your rights, quote unquote, as a wife to say, if we're going to be well as a marriage, I need you to do something. I think you should go to this workshop. I think you need to go to an individual counselor to talk about why you continue to engage in betraying behavior, because that's what he is doing. He's continuing to engage in betrayal.
Well, can I ask you this question? He is in stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer, but he's in a clinical trial and he's doing really well. He's not feeble or anything like that. And then he'll say, if I confront him with this, well, I've asked God to forgive me. But I said, you've not approached me. Why can't we have closure on this?
Right.
And so this eats me alive, and then I become angry, and I say words that I normally would never say. But and I feel guilty when I'm in my group of Christian friends or something. I feel so guilty, and I'm having to ask God, forgive me for my actions toward this. Forgive me. Then every time it happens again, I get so angry. So he said, you're not livable because you're angry all the time. And I say, but don't you understand why I'm angry? You have hurt me. You won't have closure. We can't talk about it. He refuses to go. He said he will not pay anybody to tell him what that he wants them to tell. Our insurance doesn't cover counseling and things.
And so
he won't come with me or do with me.
But Katrina, here's the thing. We hear you, and I would love to say that we've never heard this before, but it's just simply not true. And the frustration that you're feeling is because you're going to the soda machine expecting something like a clear drink of water, and you're just getting the same thing over and over again. And it's not going to change until something dramatic changes. But Laura, I want you to give her a next step. I know we want you to go to Restore, Katrina, because I think you're going to get some really good insight in that. And we want you to get to that place of peace. But Laura, what are some steps that she can do now so that they're not having the same discussion before she goes to Restore?
Well, the well you're going to is not giving you the water you need, right? So you need to get to the well of women who can validate you. And again, your anger is legit. You are responding as God designed. You've been violated. You've been betrayed. And emotional betrayal weighs in the same as physical betrayal, just FYI. But your next step is to get into, you need to get to a counselor. You need to, and so someone who can validate, who's familiar with betrayal trauma, who can go, you're not crazy. You know, you are not overreacting. You're not expecting too much. It is total legit for you to expect a faithful marriage. And your husband is unfaithful, not only in his actions, but in the way he treats you. And I'm sorry he has cancer, but none of that excuses what he's done to you in going outside of the marriage to meet his needs in whatever way. So it is crucial. Like I said, if I were in an accident, my legs cut off, I can't, if the driver doesn't respond to me that harm me, I'll bleed out on the road. So I don't want you to bleed out. I want you to get your help.
Well, one thing on I wanted to add this. On intimacy a few years ago, he blamed me because he said I wasn't desirable, and then he said I was too overweight to have sex. And then after I read his medical records after the cancer, we had to keep getting the medical records and stuff. He had erectile dysfunction, but I didn't know that. He didn't tell me that.
Right.
And
But see, Katrina, here's the thing. We hear you. He is closed down for lots of different reasons. And JJ even said, you don't even know because he doesn't even know probably. And so you're going and you're asking him to be a just and a truthful man, and he doesn't have it right now. We're going to send you, I want to send you a copy of Every Man's Battle, and we're going to send you a copy of Intimate Deception, Healing the Wounds of Sexual Betrayal. And I know Larry's in the studio and he's probably going, Becky, don't send 2 books, but we're going to send them to you, Katrina, because it's going to be one step in the right direction. Hold on. And we're going to see if we can get you with a counselor as well as information for Restore and Every Man's Battle. Yeah. And before we go to Larry, yes, JJ, I want to hear from you.
I just want to add one quick thing. Yes, we go to God for forgiveness, but God calls us to repentance. He doesn't say, I forgive you, keep living the way you live. He says, neither do I condemn you, but go and sin no more.
There you
And
go.
that's the piece that's not included in his, when he's going to God, he's asking for a free pass. He's not confessing sin from a perspective of repentance, where he's allowing God to change the way he thinks about things and the way he behaves.
That's right. That's right.
And,
Well,
and then he puts it back on her.
Right.
He puts
Exactly.
it back on
Well,
her.
it has worked for 55 years, so hopefully we'll disrupt that.
True.
But we're grateful that you called today, Katrina. And if you heard Katrina's call and it resonates with your situation, we can help you get started in a new way. And you know what? We're praying for you, Katrina, and your husband. He is not beyond repair, and we know that we've seen it so many times. Actually, Larry is in the studio, and Larry, I know that you have some testimonies about people that we've helped in marital issues, not maybe exactly like theirs, but similar.
Well, I've got too many testimonies to read, but I want to read one, and especially because intimacy and marriage is coming up, and JJ and Laura are on here along with you, Becky, and you guys are the presenters. So you can encourage and speak to this as well. This one is from, let me just read it. I think everyone should take this intimacy and marriage workshop. I am a divorce lawyer and have been divorced once before. The tools given in this workshop can transform any troubled marriage, and I've seen so many of them. But each person must be willing to do the work and look at themselves to see what they can change, because we really only have control over ourselves and can't make our spouse change. The workshop isn't just for troubled marriages. It gives tools that can help any marriage at any stage to have better communication about fears, expectations, emotions, and understanding. It's great as a tune-up and great for even couples who are considering divorce. I recommend Intimacy in Marriage wholeheartedly, and will recommend it to my clients. I think it's pretty powerful that someone who's in that, counselor, not just a counselor, divorce counselor, divorce attorney, and he went and he experienced it, and he has a lot of good things to say about it. So folks, I hope you will consider signing up. You got the best of the best presenting at this workshop, and I can't speak highly enough. So after the break, Becky, I hope I can just give 30 seconds about our matching gift, and I'll let you get on with calls.
Well, and I think we get about 30 seconds right now, too, to, if you have a call, you can call us, 1-800-229-3000, and we want you to have a new life. That's why we offer the workshops. That's why we ask for money, because we've helped a lot of people, and we want to help you.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. I'm going to give Larry 30 seconds.
28. Okay, I'm on the road.
There you go. We're counting.
I just wanted to remind folks, $361,000 matching challenge was given to y'all. And we just crossed the $200,000 match mark. So we got $161,000 roughly to go. And anything you can do to help will be appreciated. I want to say thank you to everybody who is giving. We're thrilled that we're making progress, but we want to reach the end soon. So make a gift today. And I don't remember what the daily gift is.
You can call us, 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You can go to newlife.com and click donate, and we'll take your donation there. Thank you so much, Larry. We're going to go back to the call. We're going to go back to the calls. We are going to talk with Sarah, who's calling us from Los Angeles, listens on KKLA. And how can we help you today, Sarah?
Hi there. I was calling regarding my family and the concern we have for my sister. She is 25 years old, and she does have a history of drug and mental and emotional and type of abuse. And in the last 2 months, she basically has isolated from the family, and there's just concern from her mother and other siblings that she is basically cutting people out, or cutting her core family out. And what I mean by that, she just do really small text once in a while, but isn't really talking to anybody except for me. And the family is just very worried about her because they think she is going down a slippery slope with her boyfriend and doing, possibly drugs, and just not really being open about what's going on in her life at the moment.
Okay. And so, Sarah, your question is?
What is a way that the family can, obviously, because she's an adult 25, what is a way to interact and be there without pushing her further away, I suppose? Or what kind of, basically, it sounds like the family, besides me, I'm the only one that's not really freaking out with her pulling away a little bit. But the family everybody else in the family is really thinking that, like, the worst thoughts of what could be happening. And basically they think that she's being isolated by her boyfriend, and like the classic cult way that people do when they try to control somebody else, I suppose.
Well, it's a very good question. And let's start with you, JJ, and we'll finish with Laura.
Yeah. So, Sarah, first of all, thanks for your call. Second, I got a question for you. So, why are you not freaking out where your family is? What is it that you're seeing or hearing from your sister that's leading you to believe that things are not as dire as the rest of the family believes they are?
I think because she did have a 2-hour conversation with me a couple of weeks ago, and she was just expressing that she's taking this time to pull away because she's trying to do her own self-help. And a lot of what she was saying made sense. Was making sense to me. I don't really like the patterns that's going on with her because she's not being very responsible. And in the last 6 months, just showing up late or not showing up, or just say I'm going to call and doesn't call, just a lot of flakiness, which I don't really appreciate and I don't like. But maybe she is in a bad relationship, but I feel like the other members of the family feel like it's really bad. I would say everybody else except for me thinks it's really bad. I don't know, maybe because ultimately I'm optimistic usually and I think more positively. So maybe I have rose-colored glasses on.
Okay. Well, we only have a few.
So the answer to your question, how can the family respond, is you respond with love. That whatever it is, when they're saying, hey, we want more interaction with you, we want you to be more consistent with, doing the things that you say you're going to do, showing up on time, that sort of thing. But we want these things for you because we love you. We want these things for you because we want good for you. And when I see you behaving in these ways, or when I see you going down this path, it worries me for you because I love you, not, you got to do this because these are the family rules, or you got to do this because we have these expectations of you. But coming from the perspective of, we love you and we want good for you, we believe this is what's going to help most. If the more they can communicate that, it's not a magic formula. It's not like you follow the script and she'll surely respond well. But the hope is that your sister will see, okay, they're wanting good for me. I can at least stay in connection with them. Even if I disagree with their perspective, I can share why I disagree because I know that they're coming from a place of love and desire for good for me.
That's good. Laura, just quickly.
Yes, I totally agree with what JJ's saying, is that it feels so hopeless. It feels so helpless to not be able to impact someone when they're in this type of situation. And, but at the end of the day, she has to decide. But us showing up and with open arms, loving her where she is, while not trying to control where she is, saying, hey, I'm available, call me anytime. Because if she feels any type of judgment where she has to hide, because down in her heart, she knows she's not in a good place. So if she feels any type of judgment, she's going to hide it more. But if you can say, hey, I'm here, I just want to listen, I just want to be available, don't, just pick up that phone, text me, whatever. And that's the best that you can do while praying and interceding for her.
Well, and it's important, Sarah, that you are sure that she is safe and that she knows that there would be no judgment coming towards her if at some point she reaches out to you. Have you made that clear with her?
I think I have, but I guess I'm like the spokesperson for the family. So they're coming in from a very different perspective. And a lot of, so that's what I would like to obviously translate is we need to just love her and be available for the time when she does reach out.
Right.
But at this point, other family members are very angry with her. And I feel like they're not going to get the better result of having her being able to feel safe enough to communicate with them.
Yeah.
So
well, and sometimes
that really talking to me.
Sometimes that anger, though, Sarah, is coming from a place of fear. They're afraid because they don't know what's happening with her. They don't know where she is. And so maybe even educating your family. I understand your anger, but it may be because you just don't know. And I get that. And, let's be open. And I don't know if they're a believing family, but, hey, how about we pray for our sister and just know that God loves her more than we do. And we need to continue to reach out and offer that connection. We're grateful that you called, Sarah. We're going to send you a copy of Take Your Life Back, which I think can help with some of the confusion there. But in just the last minute or so, JJ or Laura, you got any 1 minute kind of just send off, like the hope that we can give somebody who's listening today?
Coercion always meets resistance. So anytime I'm trying to force someone else to change, they're going to get defensive and resist that. But if instead I can invite them to change, there's a much more likelihood that they're going to come alongside and join me in that process. So I would encourage the family there to invite rather than...
We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.